This year's summit theme, Deepening Cooperation for Shared Global Affluence, recalls the movement's founding principles of cooperation and collaboration, urgent prescriptions in the current setting. Our world is beset with profound, multifaceted challenges which demand creativity and consensus building to fashion effective solutions. Unhappily, it is precisely in the opposite direction that we are headed. Widening inequalities are breeding fresh grievances, while mistrust and geopolitical competition are hampering efforts to realize our aspirations of achieving sustainable development by 2030. In Ukraine, the Middle East, and here in Africa, crises and conflicts are laying bare the limits of the multilateral system, raising legitimate questions as to the relevance and value of the United Nations itself in terms of its ability to resolve global issues, and whether we, as a global community, can deliver the promise of peace and prosperity for all. There is no doubt that the world is deeply fragmented, complicating the mission and undermining the traditional mechanisms adopted by the United Nations in addressing major problems. And while we must, out of necessity, engage in introspection and adopt more effective strategies and methods to achieve delivery and meaningful impact, the one thing we must work hard to avoid is the loss of our ability to find common purpose and to act decisively when the moment demands it. I must tell you that I am deeply concerned and indeed dismayed about the ongoing calamity in the Gaza Strip. And so I call upon this movement to exert its influence in bringing a halt to the carnage that we are haplessly witnessing. That situation behoves us to ask, how much is enough? And does the very concept of enough even exist in this setting? Looking to the future of the region, I reiterate my urgent call on all parties to refrain from any action that could further spill over into neighboring countries. The General Assembly, encompassing the voice of the vast majority of member states, has been clear. In that regard, I renew the demand for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire and for the release of all hostages. This stands as the only credible course of action to authentically address, let alone resolve, this conflict. The wanton prosecution of violence only inspires intergenerational and cyclical appetites for retribution and reprisal. After various iterations of war over several decades, I am convinced that a negotiated political solution is the sole path through which both Israelis and Palestinians will see realized their fundamental right to a life of peace based on the two-state solution. As President of the General Assembly, I will support and encourage any and all initiatives to that end. You can count on me to remain steadfast in that commitment. It is precisely for these reasons that I chose peace as the first of 4 priorities of my presidency, reflecting its foundational importance as a prerequisite for achieving prosperity, progress, and sustainability for all. The history of NAM itself teaches us important lessons that remain valid today, bearing in mind that the movement was formed at a time of unprecedented global division, when the world appeared to be on the brink. Given NAM's commitment to and advocacy for peace, representing more than half of the global population, it has an indispensable role in guiding our world pragmatically towards a more secure, more just, and more prosperous future for all, where harmony and peace prevail.
Where the international system is being challenged with unprecedented threats, interconnectedness among us has multiplied the effects of those challenges and requires unified and collective responses based on norms and principles of international law. We should stay united in the face of existing and growing challenges and endeavor to make our movement be capable of and sufficiently equipped in coping with them.